Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. We're doing another beer tasting today. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. I had recorded a video with the double chocolate stout I had. It just wasn't up to the quality that I wanted to share with you guys, so I decided to not post it and move on to other things and try another beer. It was a nice beer. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really happy with the quality of my assessment of it. However, yesterday, my dad and I had the pleasure of checking out Cowbell Brewery in Blythe, Ontario. A beautiful building, a fantastic brewery with a ton of rich history behind it. We ate some great food there. They have their own restaurant and stuff, a nice little gift shop and everything in there, as well as did a whole tour. Learned a lot of cool stuff about the brewery, had some fantastic food, and I got to try quite a few beers. It was a fantastic time. So if you're out near Blythe, Ontario, which is kind of close to Listowel, northwestern Ontario, if you're familiar with the show Letterkenny, fantastic Canadian comedy, do recommend you watch it. Listowel is the town that Letterkenny is based off of. It's about an hour and a half northeast of Kitchener, and Blythe is about 20 minutes, I believe, south of that. So I'd recommend, if you're in that area ever, just checking out Northern Ontario, go check out Cowbell Brewery. They do this cool thing with all their beers. Today we're going to be trying out Doc Perdue's Bobcat. So they name all their beers after someone involved within the history of Blythe, Ontario somehow. One of the beers they sell at my work is called Absent Landlord by them. And that's due to, I believe, the man from England who bought the property rights to Blythe, Ontario, never actually came to the town when it was founded, hence the name of the beer, Absent Landlord. But like I said, today we have Doc Perdue's Bobcat, and let's read the description of why it's called that. This looks pretty funny. Doc Perdue was Blythe's veterinarian in the late 1880s who had a penchant for collecting exotic animals and a love of drink. When once cut off for being overserved at the local saloon, he marched home and returned with a bobcat on a leash, threatening to let it loose if he didn't get another drink. Reasonably terrifying. Probably a good idea to get... Well, no, you're not supposed to do that, but, what do you do if some guy comes in with a bobcat and asks for a beer? Fuck. Anyway, this is a West Coast red ale. Really looking forward to trying it. I haven't had a lot of reds recently. The one that I have enjoyed that I tried recently was Amber Red Ale, which is from Oakville. I'd like to do a review of that soon, so once I make my way down there, I'm definitely going to come back and do that. But I have a couple other Cowbell beers. I think that'll be coming up in my next couple videos, so we'll see how that goes. But let's give this a pour. Super excited. I'm always excited to have a beer, though, with you guys. It's great. Very mild head. Let's take a look at that color. Beautiful, beautiful shade of copper red. Nice and clear. For a red ale, you can still see through it a fair bit. Not too heavy. Nice, very mild head. You really notice the hops on the nose. Like I can smell a nice... what is the IBU on this? Let's see if it's listed. I'm actually not sure. Oh, 30. So it's a reasonable IBU. Temperature should be served at 30 degrees Celsius. I think I have a little bit colder than that, but I will probably be enjoying the rest of the beer as it warms up a little bit. We're going to do the tasting now, though. 30 IBUs isn't so bitter, but I do notice those on the nose. I can smell a nice amount of hops. I think pine. I'm noticing pine, which is pretty nice. It smells very fresh, very clean. A little bit sweet too. I'm getting a little bit of maybe a tropical fruit aroma. I'm not sure, but that's the nose of this beer is great, really nice. Wear this as a cologne. That is crisp, refreshing. Yeah, I'm noticing mild notes of pine. The hops are not super overstated. I'm not a big IPA fan. I don't like aggressively hoppy beers. Those hops are really pleasant in that. I think if you're not used to hops in beer, like I do still drink a lot of beer with work. I'll try a lot of beers often. I've become a little bit more accustomed to IPAs and beers that have more hops. I think it might off-put some people. They're a little bit strong at the end of the taste and stuff there. You kind of notice it in a little bit of the back. Hey, Kane, what's up, buddy? I swear, every time I'm recording one of these videos, my cat comes down to meow at me and trying to get my attention. I don't know how he knows that I'm recording videos. Maybe he just hears me talking and thinks people are down here. Yeah, I noticed fruit on the nose. The palate, it's pretty, they're mild, fairly light hops, but you do still notice it there. It's nice. And yeah, it's like, I mean, it doesn't taste like pine. That doesn't sound appealing, but the nose kind of affects it. So it tastes very fresh. And it's a very awake, I guess, if that's I'm going to call it that. It's just a very awake beer. There's a nice, it's not an aggressive punch, but it's very fresh, very clean. I actually really enjoy that. That's quite nice. I'm not a big fan of, I'll drink a red, I'll drink an amber and stuff. I'm not a big Rickard's Red fan, but every once in a while, one of these is really nice. And I'm really obsessed with the smell of this beer. The nose is just fantastic. It's really, really nice. Like, I notice way more fruits and stuff. I'm going to see if I can try to notice some in the sip itself. But so far, I'm mostly just getting the hops and stuff. But I think that's because I have a less developed palate, I think, still for tasting hops. So because I haven't drank a lot of IPAs, it's probably the first thing and the last thing I taste when I'm drinking a beer that has a decent amount of hops behind it. There's a bit of citrus in there. Lime. Not lemon, not orange. There's a bit of that, I think, lime zest and stuff. So, piney, lime zest, that there's a little bit of that sour tartness. Not sour like a sour beer, but there's some of that that zesty, that citrusy kind of punch, I'd say there for sure. Yeah, it's weird. The nose, I get a lot of fruit, but I'm not noticing that as much in the beer. But I think if I kept tasting it, I might notice it more. And the thing with ales, and I got to keep this in mind going forward when I'm doing these reviews, when I'm drinking an ale, and when you guys are drinking an ale too. And while you might think a lot of beers, when you think about beer, you think of a lager probably. Canadian, Budweiser, Coors Light, Bud Light, Milford Organic, even stuff like that. Those are lagers, right? And you want those served cold, crisp, refreshing. Ales you usually want cool. Not room temperature, but warmer than cold, but cooler than, like, usually between, I would say, 3 and 5 degrees and stuff. Stouts sometimes even warmer, depending. It lets you taste more of the flavors. My manager at when I worked at 3 Brewers, he'd get an IPA at the end of the night, and he'd let it sit for 30 minutes or so before he drank it, and I would always chirp him for it. But I understand now that was so he could taste a lot more flavors in the beer. You don't get the same subtlety when it's very cold, and lagers don't often have. They can, but they don't often have the same complexity. When in the brewing process you don't get all those esters that form in the beer that give it fruity aromas and taste and stuff. So when you're drinking an ale, let it just sit for a little bit outside of your fridge and stuff. Maybe warm it up just a touch with your hands and stuff, and try to bring it up to slightly less cold, I guess, than your fridge temperature, I'd say. Yeah, I could honestly smell this beer all day. This is fantastic. Yeah, so I'm going to say, does it reflect? I've never met a bobcat, so I can't say for sure if it reflects the spirit of a bobcat, but I'm going to trust Cowbell Brewery on this and say that it does. But if you're interested in a nice, zesty, hoppy, amber red ale, you should look into Doc Perdue's Bobcat by Cowbell Brewery. Again, in Blythe, Ontario. Very exciting, very fun. They got a lot of great stuff. When I went, they had a ton of different things to try. I think they said usually between 14 and 18 beers on tap. So check them out. It's worth a trip. It is a beautiful building. You get a great tour. There's a lot of history that you can learn there. And surprisingly, for a town of 1,000 people, there was an interesting amount of culture and, like I said, history in that town. So I do recommend. Guys, as always, thank you so much. Cheers. Enjoy your drinks. Be well, guys. Later.